Hey guys, my name is Jaden de Guzman and I'm a graduate teaching assistant with the Donna Isha Layla MusicReach program at the Frost School of Music, and this video is 5 tips for future college music majors. Actually, I think some of these tips definitely apply to people not studying music, but some of them are very music focused, and I will get into more details for music majors. But I think that if you are watching this video and you're not exclusively planning to study music, or you're looking at music as a minor, this information is helpful for you too. And also, if you are let's say a high school freshman or a high school sophomore or junior and you are thinking about college already, this video might just be very helpful to you as well. And so, without further ado, shout out to all of the high school seniors graduating class of 2020. Congratulations. I know the world is super weird right now, but we are all still very proud of you and all of your accomplishments, especially to all of the high school seniors that gotten through all of their audition processes, selected a school, and you have your heart set on somewhere this fall. Congratulations. There are so many wonderful, exciting, and beautiful and musical things waiting for you just around the corner. And again, here we go. 5 tips for future college music majors and all y'all other folks too, because why not, okay? So the first tip is start thinking about your organization system. Whether or not it's gonna be digital or analog, you are going to have a lot of paperwork, especially if you are a music major. You're gonna have all of your solo music, your ensemble music, chamber ensemble, all of the music that you're gonna wanna work on your own, all of the music that you're gonna play in large ensembles. It is a lot of paper and you need to know exactly where you're going to put it. Something that I personally do is I have a lot of digital storage where I have PDFs of music and classwork, documents, articles, books, everything. I have it organized on my iPad. However, my iPad died a couple months ago and I hadn't backed it up to anything, and I've been shooting myself in the foot about it. I've been very upset. So not only should you have an organizational system, but you should also have a way to back it up. I know so much work is digital these days. You want to make sure you're backing things up to a cloud, and or backing it up to an external hard drive if you don't trust clouds, or I don't know, some weird wacky reason. Something that I recommend is have somewhere for your to-do list, have something for all of your papers, have a folder system so you don't just have a million PDFs on your desktop. It happens sometimes, so if you feel personally attacked by this comment, I forgive you, please forgive me. But already start thinking about where you're gonna put things, so when you already are in the motion of being in school, you don't have to think about how you're gonna organize what you're gonna receive. You just have it and you put it in there and it's ready to go. Start thinking about how you're going to organize this massive amount of paperwork you are going to come into. It's inevitable, so prepare. Okay, and if you're gonna do it digitally, back it up, do iCloud, do something, but just make sure that it is being saved somewhere, so in case you lose it, you're not screwed. And my next tip can be the very first thing you organize. I highly recommend that, especially if you have selected a college or a university that you're committed to, you know exactly what your major is. This tip is super helpful. You want to first pull up Google. I know you know how to use Google, so I'm not gonna patronize you because you are watching a video on the internet, which means you have the prerequisite skills of knowing how to Google, and I'm sorry I'm gonna ask you to Google things a bunch through this video, but go ahead, pull up Google, and I want you to look up the university that you are planning to attend. I will, for our example, use University of Miami, the words academic bulletin, and your major. So I'm gonna put my major, which is music education, and we're gonna go ahead and pull that up. and it will pull up a web page of all of the courses that you need to take through the time of study. Usually it's the 4 years, what classes you have to take and the amount of credits that you need. And they have one of these for every single major. So let's say you have a university or you're trying to decide between 2 universities or 2 different majors. This is a really good way to compare and contrast what you will be learning at different schools or in between 2 different majors. But all of that information is there for you. So if you don't like surprises, you don't have to be surprised. The University of Miami's page actually has a plan of study tab, so you can see their recommended sequence of classes, like when you need to take what. So realistically, you will know when you're gonna take, let's say, woodwind methods or classroom management and behavior. And all of this information, again, is available for every single major. So go ahead, compare. You can compare between performance, music therapy, music education, just in case maybe a switch is on your mind. Or if you're still thinking about 2 different universities, what course listings they're offering. This is a good way to do research and save it into your organizational system. And but if you do like surprises and you just want to let college happen to you, which I extremely do not recommend, this is a good way to get an overview. And if you are confused about any of the things that you're seeing, they usually have links and you can click on them for more information, or go ahead and Google it. And if you can't find any of that information like that, my next tip is going to help you, which is number 3. Start sending emails. And the first email that I recommend that you send is to the program director of the program that you are planning to attend. So for example, if you were to Google Frost School of Music, Music Education, Program Director, it will bring you to a Contact Us webpage, and it will show you that the undergraduate program director, shout out to these 2 wonderful humans, Dr. Carlos Abreu is the undergraduate program director, and Dr. Steven Jinsky is the graduate program director. Again, this information can be found for any university or any college or any school that you're planning to attend. You want to find the program director for the program that you're going to start, and I highly recommend you send an email and start communication with them. I know it's kind of weird, especially if you don't send a lot of emails as it is, but going to college and going into your future career, especially as a musician that has to advocate for yourself constantly, you need to get into the habit of sending emails. And sometimes it's really hard, especially if you don't like talking to people all the time. But once you've proofread it and you send it off, it's almost harmless and it's free. Okay, so this is an example email that I would send. It's just to open a line of communication between you and someone that you are absolutely going to be working with in the future. And that head start can be essential to starting a personal connection to someone that can speak on your behalf, for recommendation letters, for different opportunities that you might get in the university or you're interested in. And having a professor that knows you starts with opening that line of communication. So something that you can do now as of May, but actually I would wait because our semester is winding down and professors have some work that they need to close out, is to send an email introducing yourself. So if I were to send an email to Dr. Abreu, or even Dr. Z if you're a graduate student, I can say that both of these professors are extremely helpful. When I was a graduate student applying to the University of Miami, Dr. Z sent me unbelievably comprehensive emails, and I just felt so cared for, and that's what educators do. They're here to help you. So I highly recommend you send an email if you want to start that connection. So for example, if I was a rising college freshman in music education, I would send Dr. Abril an email introducing myself. Subject title could be greetings, some questions from a new student, and say, hello, Dr. Abril. My name is Jaden de Guzman. I am starting the music education program at Frost. These are some of my interests. And I was just wondering if you had any summer reading that you could recommend to me. You know, and this is a great way to get a head start on what your classes might be like, because most of the time you will get a very personal recommendation, either that the professor will think is like, oh, okay, this student is interested in this, and I know this book might really help them see a new idea or come in contact with something to enlighten them, I guess. And it also will help you understand more about that professor, because usually they will give you a recommendation that they like personally, and that's super helpful because as your program director, you are most likely going to have a class with that person, and that connection is a really good foundation for going into an environment that would otherwise be new. Okay? And in connection to that, I highly recommend that you start forming relationships online with your peers, which is actually tip number 4. So I am working on the assumption that you are using social media, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, maybe you have a blog, whatever it is that there are communities online. And that's really how the internet started up in the first place, like just different clumps of people that shared interest and wanted to share that information with a digital community. It's really easy to go on Facebook and look up, for example, again, University of Miami, class of 2024, and join the page. You never know. You might find someone who posts memes that are exactly your speed, and just go ahead and send them a friend request. I think something that college freshmen, or I believed as a college freshman, especially in times where I was too scared to talk to someone, something that I forgot is that we're all pretty much in the same position, a brand new world, brand new life, and we're all just a little bit willing to make new friends. And if you want to reach out, if you want to be that first person to do to say something, all the more power to you. But and if you're not, that's okay too. But a sense of digital community, a sense of community in general is really important, because college is hard. I'm not gonna lie about that at all, especially because I've decided to keep going to college for whatever reason as a master's student. But having a support system is invaluable, and you can make steps now online at home to starting a digital community and making friends online, because you never know, for the day that you walk on campus for the first time, you might see that person that posted the funniest meme, and that's the first thing you could say, hey man, that meme was hilarious. And before you know it, you have a new friend that can help float you through some of your hardest times in college, schoolwork, study buddy. Personal connections with professors and your peers are going to be an invaluable resource to you starting school. And that brings me to my 5th point, which is my most music specific point, and it is something very vague. It is practice a polyphonic instrument. And if you've never Jaden, words. Okay, if you've never heard that word before, polyphonic, it means, I'm sorry, theory and ear training professors, it's gonna mean sounds that are happening at the same time. So a lot of us musicians, except if you already play the piano and you play the guitar, maybe the accordion or harmonica. I don't know whose primary instrument is the harmonica, forget about it. But for the most part, let's say if you are playing the bassoon, or if you are playing the saxophone or a trumpet or a violin, or you're a vocalist like me, is you, for the most part in your educational life, have been really focused on your part. And I think even in very high quality high school programs that are ensemble based, I got stuck a lot of the times being concerned with what I was doing in the rehearsal and not hearing what other people were doing. And I think that's the biggest shift from high school music education to a college music education, is we become more attuned and more sensitive to the collaborative nature of music. And that's really what makes music so beautiful, right? Being able to make music together. And right now we're in a weird and wacky time where that's not quite possible unless you are really hip to some audio engineering and video editing. For the most part, we're making music at home alone, and we are missing out on that very beautiful and exciting part about music, which is making music together. But something that you can start looking forward to now is training your ears to hear how music interacts with each other. So that's not always possible when you're practicing your line and your part. Of course, there are very sensitive musical things that you can do, you know, dynamics and expression on your own line, but it's a notch up to start hearing how parts interact with each other. And that's more possible on a polyphonic instrument than a monophonic instrument where you are only playing one line. So I highly recommend, and I'm pretty sure it's a requirement going into most degrees or music degrees, that you play the piano. But if you have a keyboard at home, or if you have a guitar, if you have access to a polyphonic instrument, to start practicing it. For example, I am learning the guitar right now, and I am very not good at it, but it's always fun to expand your skills. And I'm not saying to switch instruments this summer. I am saying to add an instrument for the sake of getting your ears to already start thinking about these two interplays in music, that sometimes you are playing alone and sometimes you are playing together. And on a piano and on a guitar and ukulele, you can play more or less together, that you can't really do in a solo instrument, unless you have an app called Acapella. I've seen some really cool things there, but I won't get into that in this video. Yeah, so I'll leave you with this advice. Congratulations to all of you that are deciding to study music. And if it was a hard choice, you know, it is a brave choice, and I am so proud of you. Music is such a beautiful thing to do with your life. I think this one thing on the internet that's been floating around, you know, in these very dark and strange times, we always look to what's beautiful. And as a musician and a music maker, we are a part of that. So congratulations. I'll stick to my word on that. If you ever see me on campus, if you happen to go to the University of Miami and you see me walking around, please feel free to ask me any questions. And if you have any questions about any of the information in this video, feel free to email me at Jaden. Oh, sorry, no, that's not my email. My email is j.deguzman@miami.edu, j.deguzman@miami.edu. Congratulations again. Stay safe, and hopefully we'll get to make some music together. Bye, guys.